Hello, Chris. You all right? Can you hear me?
Man, good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. How's your day going?
2 weeks leave, so yeah, back home with family, just doing some bits and bobs. Yeah,
Nice. Got the family loving that as well.
yeah, good. How's Civvy Street?
Different? You
Different,
know
good.
what?
Different, bad. Different, same.
Oh no, not the same at all. Completely different. It's good in a way. You've got more freedom. Uh, you get treated a lot more fairly, obviously depending on who your manager is. But you have to work more. Like I've always said this, it swings and roundabouts in the army. You're either working really hard, or you're not working at all.
I say this to some of the younger lads, like the army is easy. It's easy. It's be in the right place at the right time, the right kit. As cliche as that sounds, it is that simple, and everything else just falls in line.
Yeah, and people tell you where you got to be, what you got to wear. It's literally down to the T. As it's me, I've got to be there at 9 o'clock. That's all I know. The rest is down to me. My manager helps me with little bits of questions because I really don't understand the subject yet. But at the end of the day, I'm just left to it. It's all on me. Compliance is all on me. There's no orders read out. There's no parade. It's you be there at 9 or you get a phone call like, why are you not there? And you just deal with the consequences.
No 6 and 10 for you.
No. Less leave, and I'm self-employed, so less income at the minute, but that just swings around about. That hopefully should give me the ability to have a bigger income. So, other than that, I'm really enjoying it. It's time for me to leave. We did speak about this briefly. I've done everything I wanted to do. The army's changed a little bit. I don't regret joining at all. But yeah, it's just definitely time for me. But that's enough about me. We're here to talk about you. So before we actually start, some people may not know you. I know you do have an Instagram, you put some really good content out, but you're not one of these big people that really push Instagram. You just do it for the love of fitness and the love of the military. Just in 30 to 60 seconds, or explain a little bit like who you are.
Yeah, so Chris, I joined the army in 2010. 2010, went up to Catterick, joined the Mercian Regiment, passed out in 2011. Literally 6 months into battalion, straight to Herrick. Usual. It was that time, that era, you just kind of push straight out. Did Herrick 15, spent a bit of time in Sang and Nara Siraj. A lot of that was kind of covered in some BBC stuff as well. I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff.
Well, which one? There's so many BBC shows, it depends which one you're going on about.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I'll send you some links on it later. There's a few things, some stories and stuff came out of some things that happened on tour.
Yeah.
The BBC got wind of it, so they made a few stories and made a few documentaries about it. If you're into it, yeah, go see it. But it's very, very BBC, so just take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, send them over, definitely. Definitely be up for that. But you say Herrick 15. Sorry, it was cut out a little bit there.
Say again, sorry.
You say Herrick 15.
Herrick 15, yeah. So this was slowly starting to calm down, but there were still some bits and bobs.
Winter 2011, because I was on Herrick 16, so we would have.
Yeah, winter tour. So it's more about the elements and battle of just living in the CPs more than most things, but we still got to do some good stuff. It was good. Yeah. It was an experience and all.
Cool.
We were in Belfast at the time, so I came back. I went to Afghan as just as a rifle platoon, as a fighting company. Then transferred over to sniper platoon when we got back. And this is where things kind of changed for me because the surroundings changed. I went from living in a rifle company in the block in 4-man rooms in Belfast, where everyone was just kind of like getting on it all the time, that kind of post-tour mentality. Then I moved over to a kind of more senior platoon where people were more keen on things. People looked after their fitness a lot more. People looked after their soldiering skills a lot more. So this was kind of the catalyst for change.
Okay, yeah.
But then it was big regimental amalgamation. We had 3 battalions. We lost one of them, and they redistributed everyone into a new one and a new two. So we ended up having 2 battalions. I then moved to Bulford, and we re-rolled. It became armour, and there was a chance of, does anyone want to go do a PTI course? And I was kind of looking around. No one wanted to volunteer for it. We were all newly mixed people. And I put my hand up. I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And this is when I was kind of dabbling slowly into functional fitness, Olympic lifting, bits and bobs, but never to the extent I am now. Spent some time at the gym under a corpsman, the first corpsman I worked with. And then when I did my PTI course, that was 2014.
Okay.
And then from then it was just, 2014 to 2018, 19 was really just a bit of a blur, really. Just the general Canada, Falklands, in and out Ukraine a little bit, Estonia. And it was then Estonia that changed everything for me. We had 9 months of a solid training program. And this is when I was heavily now into CrossFit and stuff. I was doing lots of functional fitness. And I kind of changed from being that infantry PTI who was just always do as I say, this is the way we're going to do it, to more of a kind of coaching and mentor. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I remember when I first joined, it was there's a circuit, thrash yourself, do it as hard as you can. Why not speeding up? Why not doing enough press ups? There was no
exactly.
There was no coaching and mentor, and now the army sort of transitioned, developed the soldiers, developed the PTIs, and it's actually, why aren't you performing as good? How can we make that better? Let's not just scream and shout at you, let's talk to you like a human being.
And people respond so much better to it. So instantly talking to the guys, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. This is what we're going to get out for it. And I'm going to tell you everything we're going to do so you can implement your goal setting. You can do everything we do throughout the session, whether that be a strength and conditioning session or a 6-mile log run. I'm going to tell you exactly what we're going to do so you can pace and dictate your pace setting, your goal setting, what you need to. And the guys responded so much better to that as well. So I took on that kind of strange guy in the company who didn't drink, who ate right, who always trained, but then I was the kind of person who talked to them and coached them, and it turned into more than just fitness. It's kind of everything else that came around with that. I think that was what the PTI should kind of carry around with them.
Did you find, sorry, just while you say that, did you find everything in your platoon and company sort of, you've always got that brotherhood, that bond, as you said, as you call it, but did you feel everyone gelled better? Did you see like a difference in how people acted around you and others, and on PT as well, like they wanted to come on PT? Yeah,
exactly, because on the PTI course they talk about things where if you want people to do PT, you want people to do fitness, do something fun, do sport, or do something they're going to enjoy. So by changing that entire mentality of, the autocratic kind of PTI, you'll do this, you'll do it to this pace, and you'll do it until I say stop, to the democratic kind of coach, not really laissez-faire stuff, and more kind of like, this is what we're going to do. What do you think of this? You think it'd be good? Or do you think we could change it this way? Yeah, let's try that. So they were giving me the buy-in straight away with the way that I changed my mentality and look on it. But the entire company took it on. And then that fell down from, the junior NCO level, fell down to the privates and the platoon commanders. It just overtook everything. And that 9 months of solid Estonia, of just living in the block, uninterrupted training time of 9 months, uninterrupted kind of blokes going up the piss every night and ruining their kind of routine, that made a solid company, an absolute solid company. And that was my kind of change. So from there, it's kind of like, I want to do this full time. So whereas I was a PTI in unit, I was still, a soldier, I was still part of my unit. So that's when I made the decision that I was going to transfer to the PT Corps and try and do this full time, turn my hobby into a profession. Yeah.
Wow, that's wicked. So you've literally gone from just joining the army, the love of the army, or whatever your reason was, to not even, because some people think join the army to become a PTI. You've literally just, I'll do it. I like fitness a little bit, and then you've ended up doing a full-time job. So go back a little bit then, so sort of people can sort of understand. So you was in a mercenary regiment, infantry battalion. Now you're PTI Corps, so that's obviously, you are the physical training instructors for the army. That's your sole job. Just sort of explain how you get from infantry soldier, the little steps you have to do to become PTI Corps. Obviously, people need to understand now, listen to this, you can't just go from recruit to PTI Corps. What steps do people have to take to get to where you are?
Yeah, I think there's a kind of, so if we look at the RAF, for example, before we go into the army, they have a dedicated route. So you can join the RAF as a physical training instructor or leader. I'm not quite sure what they call them. So they have a dedicated route, which is great because that's your sole job. But the downside of that is you don't have that real world experience. You've not sat in the role, in the job. You've not been on the shop floor before turning into the instructor. So with the army, it's a case of you have to obviously be in the army first, do your PTI course, That's fluctuated over the years between 6 weeks and 9 weeks, always kind of changes. But the PTI course nowadays is really good. It's really good. It's modern strength conditioning tools, it's variables, it's principles, it's different modalities of training, it's coaching, mentoring, it's models of adaptation, stimulus and recovery. It's a really good course. So once you've done that, you then obviously gain your experience of being a PTI.
Yeah.
And that is just shop floor delivering. And as we said, we talked about earlier, you can take that on full heart. And if you really do, you can go on to PT course selection. So you can then join the PT core, which is then the dedicated PT branch of the army. Now, to get from PTI to PT core, there's a few things you need to do to get there. Like we said, PTI course, so we've done that. You then need to get a few kind of prerequisites on board, so a few AT courses. So you get all your baselines of AT, then they just upskill you in a few areas, so you become an instructor. So I've done my PTI course, then went away and did my basic courses in rock climbing, kayaking, canoeing, that kind of stuff. Then go away and do your 5-day selection. Now, essentially, this is a 5-day interview process. Is it tough? Yeah, it's tough, but it's the mental pressure you put on yourself, I think, which kills you off. And it's 5 days of you and a syndicate. You're just a bib and a number. So I was Red 5, for example. I'll remember that now for the rest of my career. I was Red 5, and there was 5 people in our syndicate. So I was last on everything, which is either good or bad, depending on the way you think of it. And that week just entails performance tests. Can you coach? Can you teach someone a push press? Can you teach someone a rope climb or a pull-up using technical models? One-on-one discussions. So you'll talk to established core guys, and they'll kind of just dive into you and come at you from left and right and see what you can kind of come out with at the time on the spot with stuff. You deliver a lesson, which they obviously expect anyway, and you do a few physical tests as you go, which is granted, which should be the baseline anyway. So you do your SCR or PFA, depending on when you did selection, RFT or 8 miler, and the last day, the endurance task. Now, the endurance task is kind of like, what have you got left? Who's going to hang on? And is this your last chance for them to notice you? You better kind of pull it out of the bag as we go. I actually made a big mistake on endurance. In the changing room, I necked a load of pre-workout because I thought we were going to be going for a few hours. I necked a load of pre-workout, and the guys, they were warming us up, and we were getting absolutely fragged getting warmed up and just doing laps of camp around the obs course, crawling around. I remember waiting in the press-up position, just arms shaking, the standard kind of just absolutely hanging out, and then everything just came out, everything just threw up. And the guys next to me just kind of laughed, and we just kind of carried on. But essentially, it's 5 days. 5 days of just being physically tested, mentally tested. There's a couple of aptitude tests where you do a few exams and stuff. But you get no feedback. You get no instant feedback. So you complete a task, and the instructors write something down. Okay, cool, thanks. See you later, next guy. And you're just like, what? Did I do good? Did I do bad? Like, how's that gone? And then the worst bit at the end, you'll finish endurance on the Friday. So you've been going for a few hours. So you'll finish at like from 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock. From 11 till after lunch, the board sits and they discuss every single candidate to see if they've met the criteria that they're looking for. And being Red 5, I was the last person to get called in. You get called in one at a time. And I walked in, I sat down, and they said, Red 5, I've got some bad news for you. How quickly can you pack at your room? We're going to start you on to the next probs course. And I was like, I played that moment in my head over and over again for the next week, next 2 weeks.
Standard typical army thing, and you walk in, yeah, you fail. Well, no, actually, yeah. So that's actually, because I thought about going core maybe one time, but never sort of really properly looked into it. There's a lot of mental pressure there. Like you said at the beginning, it is mental pressure. A lot of courses you get screamed at, shouted at, you teach a lesson, you get feedback at the end, sign a bit of paper, you have this feedback, move on to the next task. But this is just 5 days, yeah, cheers, off to see you later. Is that every event? Or
pretty much, yeah.
Test you're doing?
Yeah, and a bit like every course is different. Different DS will do things in different ways. But it's that kind of, someone will walk past, and if you've got your own boots on, are they issued boots? Are they? No? Okay, then. And then walk off, you're like, shit, have I messed up here? Have I, there's no feedback at all. And I had a friend who was part of the PT school delivery team at the time.
Yeah.
He had access to all the information. He was like, do you want to know how you're doing? I was just like, no, I just want to deal with one thing at a time, knock it through bit by bit. But yeah, they happy said, yeah, we'll be happy to have you. And there's 3 streams you can obviously choose. Mainstream, so you go straight to kind of PD delivery. So you're a mainstream core guy. Essentially, your first kind of job is going to be somewhere like Aritzi-based, Catterick, Purbright, Winchester, and you'll be managing PTIs. Or you can go ATI, so self-explanatory, up in the hills, delivering canoeing, kayaking, rock climbing and stuff. Or ERI, so exercise rehabilitation. And this requires a further 6-month course after your probationers course. And I thought if I was going to spend my sergeant career, as you badge in, you become straight to a sergeant, doing anything, I want to kind of develop and add some strings to my bow as we go. So I thought, let's go ERI. So I did my 9-month probs course, which is a whole different story as it goes. And then onto my ERI course, so a further 6 months bolt onto that. My ERI course, loved it. Absolutely loved my ERI course.
Yeah, that's good.
It was very what I expected probs to be in the level of detail. So probs obviously is broke up into 3 areas. You've got your juniors, your inters, and your seniors. Juniors, essentially, the way I described it was the PTI course, again, with a bit more information, a bit more anatomy, physiology and stuff. And then inters is all about delivery. So you host stuff for the All Arms PTI course. You run big events and prepare you to go to units, run events. And then seniors is all kind of out courses. So officiating courses for sports. You become a athletics judge, a swimming judge, and stuff like that. And that's 9 months. And after the 9 months is done, well done, you're in the PT core. And it's just like, cool. What do I do now? What do I do now? Yeah. What do I do now? But it was good. But I would have liked the idea of just developing a little bit further and doing a bit more. So ERI course was a no-brainer, getting onto that.
Yeah, I think what people don't understand how much PT core guys, the sergeants and staff sergeants actually do. It's like the problem is you're quite later on in your career. People might not know you can join as a senior lance corporal, can't you? As long as you've got the reports to promote. If not, you're going to be force group, possibly a sergeant, so a corporal, sometimes sergeant, but normally you see most corporals. 9 months of your career taken. They've got to cram all that in. Can you imagine if they try to make it a year and a half? That's a year and a half of your career gone. Then you've got to do 6 months ERI. So you can understand why they don't. But no.
It's a long time. The entire process, from the second you say, I think I want to go to the PT core, to badging out and passing out on that day and badging in, that's a 2-year process. So for the moment saying I want to go and getting your berry and badging in, yeah, that's a long process.
That's 2 years of your career gone, and you're already a senior corporal. It's quite important. People don't realise you've got 22 years, pretty much 24. You've got to make every year count, especially if you want to promote. To get this right, so people understand, you can either go PT core, become sort of like a senior PTI, run a gym, which is pretty much what you do, which is pretty cool in its own aspects. You run major fitness events for regiments, battalions. You could either become an ERI and get some really cool qualifications, which is rehabilitation, sort of physio, sort of, not an actual physiotherapist, but
yeah, step down from a physio, we can go into that kind of stuff.
So that's what you are. And then what people don't realise is they can join PT core, become an adventure trainer instructor, get posted to somewhere like North Wales, and just rock climb, cave, kayak for the rest of their career.
If people are into if people are into that lifestyle, what a job, an absolute job to do. Like the PT core is obviously, I'm going to say, I'm going to be biased, is the best unit in the British Army. We're capable, we're adaptable, we're motivated, but we've got all these areas that we can specialise in, and we can decide to switch between them later on.
So you can interchange. Yeah.
So there's people who've been known, staff sergeants to go do the ERI course, so then obviously switch kind of trades. So there is scope to do that. But in terms of the promotion stuff, going back to that, so I had a guy from the Signals on my probs course who was already a sergeant, he badged in.
Okay, yeah.
Already sergeant when he started prop, sorry. So if anything, the time frame put him back a little bit. But I think for most of them, sorry, go on.
As I said, you've got to do a certain time as a sergeant before you can promote to staff sergeant within the PT force.
I think so. Or there would have been something like he would have lost some, I don't know exactly the whole details, but it would have added time onto his time as a sergeant because of the amount of jobs you need to do as an ERI kind of thing. But for most people, you know, especially for me, it was never, motivation was never the rank. The rank is just something that comes with the job. But the motivation was the job. Fitness was always a hobby, and now it's kind of a profession. But alongside all this, the Estonia deployment, alongside probs, and alongside my ERI course, I was also running a 4-year part-time sports and exercise science degree. So if you add all of that stuff that's quite busy and stuff that's going on, now add distance learning up to, you know, level 6, level 7, sports and exercise science bachelor's degree, I had a lot of stuff going on. And as soon as I finished my ERI course, I was like, right, that's it. I'm going to take a year off to chill. But I just can't. I can't just sit down and do nothing. Yeah. So now it's like, what's the next challenge? What can I do now? So there's a few things I've got going on now that I want to kind of smash my kind of time into.
Okay. Did you have a family while you're doing all that as well? Like, you're married now. You are married, aren't you?
Not yet. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so lockdown, bought a house, got a 1-year-old daughter as well. So yeah, all that's another layer to everything that's going on. But yeah, we make it work. I think the soldier has that mentality, especially the switched on soldier. We make things work.
No, that's awesome. So I want to know is, what are you sort of doing now? So I mentioned it a little bit before. So go check Chris out on Instagram at Tactical Peaks. Can't remember there's an underscore in there. But at Tactical Peaks, you'll find him. You're sort of, I don't want to speak down on the PT course. I spoke to Mike Chadwick about it, who you're good friends with and you've worked with quite closely. But there's a few people making waves within the British Army. You, Mike, who's no longer in, but still has a massive influence. Dean Hammond, there's a few other names. As we spoke about earlier, people young, you just be a fashion, let's run, let's just do a circuit. Now we're bringing that functional fitness strength. You put a lot of your very scientific facts on Instagram. What sort of led you to that as well? Sort of the way you like to dive into fitness so much. Is there a reason for that, or is it just pure passion?
A bit of both, yeah. Say if you people like Mike Chadwick and Dean Hammond, what they do is great, absolutely great, and the way they articulate it is absolutely great. I kind of see myself as that they were the first ones doing this. I'm now the second generation coming through, so I look up to them as much as they kind of, you know, help me and mentor me along as well. But if you look at my very first post, it was the why. Why make things? Why the sports science? Why the military focused sports science? And I listened to a podcast a while ago, and I should have looked at before we started this. And someone said, we make content for a few things, to organize our thoughts and present them in a way that makes sense. So by creating content, we make sense of our thought process of stuff. And while I was at uni doing stuff, so say we were doing a lab report and a biomechanical assessment of a lower limb kind of exercise. Traditionally, sports related, someone would look at a rugby kick or something like that, and we'd look at high-speed cameras and do some stuff. But being, you know, me and Keen and Green, I was like, no, I want to do something military. So right, let's have a look at fire movement. Let's put some high-speed cameras onto fire movement. Let's put a force plate underneath. And as we hit the floor, as we stand back up, how much force is going through the legs? Okay, how much force is going through the legs now when I add, you know, 25 kilo of a day sack and a Bergen on? Right, let's have a look at that. Is there any literature surrounding this? So all my sports science stuff came into the military context because I was interested in it. You know, I wasn't really interested in football or rugby. So why should I do a biomechanical uni assessment on a rugby kick if it doesn't interest me?
Yeah.
And I was taking little snippets of the work I'd done and throwing it into Instagram posts and making some stuff. And the whole idea of Tactical Peaks was, I don't have a product to sell. It's nothing for me to gain. It's just a way of me quantifying my thoughts and pushing out what I think is good stuff. And I've had a lot of, you know, great feedback from it. But yeah, the focus has been, how can I relate what I'm learning in the job role that I'm doing and make it relevant to people that will kind of want to see it. And by making this Instagram page, and I'm sure Mike and Dean have found exactly the same, there's this entire community of people who are really interested in this stuff. And even I've had, high level, physios and people messaging me saying, this is really good stuff. How much is the military kind of looking into this stuff? And with the development of the APTS, so the new way we train, our new periodized training system in the army, all of this is now coming out of this sports science stuff, all this strength and conditioning kind of areas. So it's developed and it's growing and it continues to grow. And there's so many more people who are thrown in more stuff. But it's just growing, and there's so many people involved with it, and the feedback on it's been absolutely great.
That's wicked. That was actually going to be one of my questions, was like, how much are the army taking it on board? Obviously, there is restrictions with obviously higher up, who's in charge, budget, funding. So you've got to take that into sort of consideration when you're looking at this sort of stuff with the army. We are restricted by budgets and MPs and all this sort of stuff. Would you and other people doing this in their own time, are they willing to say, look, he's done this sports science degree in his own time, he's actually done this research? Is there people within the PT Corps and other sort of areas of the army actually taking this information and spreading it and developing possibly new assessments and tests and sessions in the future? Are they quite on board with that?
Well, I'm not the only person who's done this. My SO3, so my Staff Officer 3, who's in charge of PD at Brigade and Region, he's got a master's degree in strength and conditioning. So there's all these kind of people with qualifications at these top levels. But as we know, military is dictated by policy. Yeah. So you can't just suddenly go left flank and start throwing in a load of stuff. Yeah, absolutely, you probably could. You could, doing what you want with good justification. But in terms of policy, and the PT Corps are known to be this kind of really rigid straight line unit, it's just justifying what you're doing. But they have done great stuff by pulling in Chinchester University. Yeah. But University are doing real short-term courses for PT Corps guys to get their degrees on the go. So the PT Corps is upskilling. It's completely upskilling. But I think it's down to the individual Corps guy to say, so let's use the SCR for an example. If I was at a unit, I could run an SCR for an entire battalion. We'll call that a quantitative analysis. So quality through quantity for loads of people. I could then present that on a graph, on a way of kind of presenting the data to the COs, the RSM. This is your battalion. This is them right here. And using the APTS, I need to work on this area, explosive lower limb strength, this area, upper limb strength. And I can prove here, this is where we need to work. And now I'm going to implement this, and then we're going to retest. That's not necessarily sports science minded, but that's academic minded. That's kind of like test, intervention, retest, pre-post testing stuff. But a lot of core guys are doing this. The problem we're having, or the problem I imagine the mainstreamers are having, is forecasts of events are really busy at the minute.
Yeah, trying to actually get a battalion together to do an SCR. Exactly that. Which, going back to Estonia, I had 9 months, my company for 9 months with no interruptions. The odd exercise here and there, but we planned for it. It was all planned. It was all undulated, periodized. It was all working. But the sports science approach into the modern army is there, but it's more prominent in some areas than others. Mm-hmm. That's really good to see it. I saw it slowly coming in just before I left. I think you've got a mixture of PTIs out there who are wannabe PTIs, have been voluntold to be PTIs, wannabe PTIs and have a real passion for fitness. Or there's a guy who can just used to be able to run a 1.5 in 6 minutes. You're going to become a PTI. So I think.
Do we still need both of those, do you think?
Which ones?
Do you think we still need both of those personalities? Do we need I'm going to go completely the wrong terminology used, the switched on PTI, and then the lesser switched on PTI who can just send it on a tab? Do you think we still need both of those?
No. At the end of the day, he's the only guy that can run a 1.5 in 6 minutes. Majority of the time in the regiment, there's top 1% who are as fit as him. So him running that on every session just because he wants to keep his fitness up. This is my personal opinion anyway.
Yeah.
And no. You want the guy who's switched on, who goes like you are doing, or running outside. You want the guy who's switched on, who's maybe planning the sessions the night before, doing the research, taking the STR, looking at that graph, developing the next sessions, going to the CO, instead of the guy just going, yeah, I'm here because I can run. Me personally, yeah, you just need the one group, and even if you had less of them, you get better quality.
No, I agree. Yeah, I just wanted to know your thoughts on that, especially from a GCC unit itself as well. You've probably seen both of those kind of coming through.
Yeah. Obviously, I've come from sort of an airborne unit. Some of them really switched on. To be honest, they're all really good blokes. But some of it is like, today's one will just be as fast as I can go and see how many people can keep up. You're like,
hold on, we're going to keep going until 3 people drop. Yeah.
And some of them are actually, to be honest, really good blokes. One of them ended up in the BT call. I won't mention his name. I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but yeah, you just need good quality. And I think the problem is, you've got those people who are just super fit, end up on the BT call. You've got the guys who are just getting voluntold just because they might be half decent blokes or they're in the wrong place.
You need to, I think the best PTIs out there are the ones who want to be PTIs, the ones who have a bit of a background in the gym. So I think once we held like a selection back in battalion, we're going to hold a selection for new PTIs. Put it out to the companies. Okay, send your fittest guys over. I'm like, no, recruit them from the gym.
Yeah.
Find who's already in the gym. Are they the fittest? No, but they've got that kind of base knowledge anyway. And I would take someone who's still top third fit. You still need that fitness, top third fit and switched on, than the fittest guy, like you said, but then can't, articulate a lesson plan properly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You need to be able to coach. That's another big thing now that we never used to look at. It was just your fit. But can you talk to people? Can you coach people? And then, someone who's in the gym, they're out running and they're doing strength and conditioning, they're doing functional, whether that's CrossFit or a bit of bodybuilding, strongman, whatever it is. You need, that all-round sort of everyday sort of athlete fitness is what a soldier really needs to be. They might turn tactical athlete. There's a lot of problem is nowadays is still soldiers don't look at themselves as athletes. I'm going to go out on a left hand here. And I'm probably not going to get light for saying this. I don't like the soldier athlete title. I really don't. But we are athletes. You're paid, in my personal opinion, paid to be fit, paid to be deployable 24/7. It depends how you look at the term athlete. How do you look at the term athlete?
So, definition of athlete: a high-performing professional person who's engaged in sports. Is the battalion full of those? Maybe, yeah, it could be.
No, but we're not. But we should be. If everyone looked at themselves as a tactical athlete, they don't have to call yourself a tactical athlete. If you have the mentality of a switched-on athlete, you need to be high-performing mentally and physically at all times. You get paid to keep fit.
Going on to the psychological aspect of this now. So if I start calling you an athlete, I start saying, right, we are soldier athletes, maybe I'll perform as an athlete. That I guess, and I do like that.
Yeah.
Every soldier in the British Army is a soldier athlete. Not necessarily, no. And it's been really hard for that, actually. So some of the stuff that I've done with the UKSCA and some of their workshops. So the UKSCA are the governing bodies of like strength and conditioning for top end UK sports and stuff. And they're really good. But to make a footballer the best footballer he can be, they know they need to work on foundations of strength, turn that strength into speed strength, turn the speed strength into strength speed, bring in some plyometrics and periodize this plan. Rugby player, exactly the same kind of thing, with the different kind of end states, depending on what the needs analysis has fed into it. The soldier, what does the soldier need? Do they need to be strong? Yeah. Take the absolutes. Let's take an absolute power lifter. Is he going to have load competence? Exactly. Is he going to shift 50 pounds worth of gear? Easy. Is he going to carry it 20 miles? Maybe not. Other end of the spectrum, let's take the runner, 5K, 17 minutes, 16 minutes, absolute rapid. But then is he going to carry that load? Has he got the load competence to carry that over? No. So we've got the kind of mix here. Where do we sit? If we're taking the soldier athlete, what does our athlete actually look like? Is it the guy who is the powerlifter? No. Is it the runner? No. Is it the hybrid in between? Yes. Well, what have we got? That's our kind of hybrid, mixed modal kind of training. Functional fitness. So when it comes to periodizing an actual plan, it's quite hard to do. If you look at CrossFit's methodology, that does fit quite well with what we need to do. it's just hard to single out what a soldier actually needs. We can do a needs analysis, so we can say they need X, Y, and Z. But I need to do my insertion tab. I need to then do a flanking maneuver. I then need to scale a wall. A CrossFit workout could resemble that quite well. Whereas single nodes of training, I'm only going to train strength once I've got strong, and I'm going to turn it to speed strength. Once I've got speed strength, I'm going to turn it to plyometrics. Does work, but the fluid kind of demands that we have, I think, sit difficult with a standard, typical periodized plan, if you can follow me on that.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. It comes back to the whole battalion's not going to be there the whole time. It's where do we sit within this? You need to be strong, you need to be fast, you need to be powerful, you need to have endurance, and you need to use them at all different times. And you could use them all in a space of 2 hours, because you could parachute in, say you're going to take force on your legs, or you could just run off the back of a Chinook. Then you've got to insert 10 miles. Then you're going to get contacted. You've then got to down your Bergen, sprint forward, bound forward. Then you've got to caddy back, so you've got more like. I don't know if we've gone off the tangent and away from the athlete, but I still think, you can't specifically train someone for something. And I know Mike's doing great stuff, just being up as an example to support him up. And he's doing his absolute best to do that. But I do personally think we need to get it across to young soldiers that you are, and maybe the tactical athlete or the soldier athlete can sound a bit cliche or something, but they are. You need to be high performing, you need to be rough, fit, deployable 24/7. So that means when you go on leave, you've got to keep it up. You've got on seasons, off seasons, technically. You need the mentality to be switched on to dig in, and it's. I know we say the definition of athlete, but can you not look at it slightly different? Another way of sort of looking at it.
The tactical athlete, can we quantify the tactical athlete? We can have an idea, but the training, the unknown and unknowable is kind of what we need to do in a way. But yeah, Mike's doing a great job. Dean's doing a great job as well with that kind of stuff. But a typical periodized plan, looking at the UK SCA's model, we can't specifically. Does a soldier need to be strong? Yes, but it's not the sole thing I need to be working on. It would be more beneficial if I did a heavy compound lift into a run and repeated that for rounds, rather than solely doing a single node of training to single node of training to single node of training.
Because you can complicate it even more. Everyone's a soldier first, and then you add in their trade. Even though you're a soldier first, does a mechanic need to be the same as sniper? Sniper needs to be the same as clerk. Medic the same as. It gets so complicated and in depth, and hats off to you, Dean, Mike. I think there's a guy called Benny. There's loads of us. Yesterday, you spoke about who are trying to delve into this, and hopefully the army start putting more money into it, because health and fitness is a minefield as it is. Let alone when you try and go into the military. And I think it's great to see people like you and others actually sort of delving into it now, so we can prevent the injuries. We can have more robust, fitter soldiers, athletes, however you want to say it, and just so we can perform better. I remember being in Afghan and people just going down for silly injuries. Exercise, people going down for just silly little injuries that shouldn't have happened. If you can sort of overcome all of that by delving into what is a soldier and what do they actually need to do, and start using the SCR and the RFTs properly, I think we're cutting the size, which I don't agree with anyway, but you'd have a much more robust, stronger, fitter, better army.
Yes, definitely.
Once again, quality over quantity.
The tactical athlete, I like. The soldier athlete, I don't. I think you have the tactical athletes, the higher performing ones, and you have the baseline of soldiers. But I think, to quantify the full needs is a lot. But people like Mike are doing a great job at individually training these areas and combining them together.
Even you, we're literally going to cut off in a minute, so we'll just quickly link again. We'll do a 5-minute end. Even you, with what you're doing, you need to sort of really appreciate what you're actually doing. I think more people need to find you, because the free content you put out there, the questions, you get people thinking on the stories. What is functional fitness? That great question you put out there. Absolutely amazing. Get people thinking.
That's the idea. It was I know we keep mentioning Mike. He's a good guy to go to. Have you seen his? Mike Chadwick. He's got the. Have you seen the Tactical Athlete Academy?
Yeah, on his website you can go into the academy.
Yeah, so he's got on there a collection of all these academia stuff. I've got a couple on there as well if you want to go check those out. And it's just a hub, a centralized hub for people to have information for. And that was the idea of Tactical Peaks as well. So asking questions on the story was kind of like leading to a post that I was going to kind of send out. So what's more functional, a bicep curl or an overhead squat? And people automatically, an overhead squat, because it's a functional movement, and a bicep curls, it's isolating, it's very one-dimensional in kind of in planes of motion. But then we kind of break down kind of like what is a functional movement, for example. So the Tactical Peaks page was kind of like, how can I share information? How can I do all this? And a few people have messaged saying, oh, do I do X, Y, and Z? And it's never been about that. It's never been a game. It's been a sharing stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are enjoying it is absolutely great. Absolutely great.
You get so much interaction. I do see it.
It's just, I would love to do more time on it. Working at, quote, the busiest PCRF in the Tri-Service currently. I'm running a new family in a new house. So yeah, things have just took a kind of step back. But yeah, so much scope to bring things back up.
That's wicked. Yeah, we will end it there, but just remind us exactly what your Instagram handle is so people can find it. Yeah, just search Tactical Peaks. You'll see it. The icon is literally written Tactical Peaks in white writing. It's just a collection of tactical academia and psychological skills training to optimize the tactical athlete. We'll use the tactical athlete. And to promote sports science in a military context. If you like it, let me know you like it. And if you have anything you'd like to share, feel free to message the page. That's wicked. So before we finish, give us top 3 tips, either for people joining the army, you pick, or people who want to join the PT Corps. Let's go PT Corps actually, because something's quite different, doesn't get talked about much on social media.
If you want to join the PT Corps, expose yourself to other trainers, expose yourself to other coaches, and from that, develop your own coaching methodology, develop your own communication skills. And build on that. Be your own coach. And if the PT Corps see you for who you really are and not what you think they want to see, they'll snatch you straight up. Be a good coach, have your own methodology, and listen to other coaches. And that is your baseline. That's
wicked. Thank you so much, mate. Let's do this again another time. ILC with my new job and you running a family. Time's a bit limited for me in a minute. I'm trying to get better at time management. So it'd be great to get you on and carry this conversation on. I feel like we was really getting somewhere with it. But no, honestly, let's meet for a coffee sometime as well.
Sounds good.
I really appreciate it.
Staying fluid, staying flexible. Let me know.
Brilliant. Cheers. Enjoy this evening. Say hi to your family for me.
Thank you, mate. You too.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.